You didn't say the episode. You didn't say like.
I don't know I don't know the episode. I just show up when they tell me to show up.
I thought you said you don't show up.
Showed up today.
Well, I'm not being paid for this. You know, I want to do this.
Okay. All right. That's fair. All right.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good wherever you are, and welcome to another episode of the Levicity Show. Yes, Levicity, it is not just a brand. It is not just a word. Levicity is a lifestyle. It is the art of doing what's necessary or difficult to succeed, regardless of fear, obstruction, or embarrassment.
I love it.
A lifestyle we should all live.
Indeed.
Yes. As you can see, most of us are wearing the same clothes. Here for part 2.
Do you release it like both episodes at the same time? So they probably wouldn't even know.
Yeah, they probably won't know. Somebody did call me out on it. Somebody was like, yo, you wear the same thing every episode? I was like, we record more than one.
I mean, I feel like it should be a given, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you release it like one per week, they'd be like,
Or you could just say I'm a cartoon. That's it.
Yeah, you just got to get
That's true.
That's
you got to
what
make
cartoons
clothes and we just wear like a hoodie or something. But then, you know,
I thought about it.
the extra person would probably be a giveaway.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Well, this is my podcast clothes. I also want to point out that this is, the previous episode that's released before this was the first show ever recorded during a solar eclipse that we didn't get to see. I don't really think it happened in New York City, at least.
fake news. Fake.
That's misinformation.
Okay,
right there.
all right. Stop.
Alternative facts.
I feel like this episode I'll be playing a lot of devil's advocate. I feel like that's what's gonna happen.
I'm going to dive right into it. I'm not going to ask you guys how's life been because
Still worth living.
Still sounds
Working hard.
very morbid.
it makes me think of the what I took out from the episode.
Oh,
Every time you say that.
Oh,
That's what I
my
thought
God.
you meant.
Oh, shit. Actually, damn. Damn, I missed the opportunity there. Ah. All right, let's just start all the way. I'm joking.
So this episode, I want to talk about our military experience.
Okay.
I got feedback from a couple people who aren't in the military, and people who are in the military as well, who just want to hear our military experience. Usually when we talk about the military, it's more of like, yo, you should ETS. I'm working too much. Come to the Air Force.
Yeah.
But
We're
the in and
hiring.
outs of it all is people want to know about the in and outs. So how long have you been in the Army versus Air Force? Since you betrayed us.
Wow.
Traitor.
Okay. So I'd like to say that actually now I've been in the Air Force longer than I've been in the Army. I could say that now. Well, we all joined at the same time, and I got out 5 years in. And that was back in 2017. Yeah, 2017. And then I joined the Air Force, the Air National Guard, right after. And I've been in since. And frankly, honestly, the biggest issue is the learning curve. That's the biggest issue about switching branches. If getting into more detail about it, it's like, you have in the Army, you have like a readiness NCO that basically takes care of everything, right? You don't, in the Air Force, you are your readiness NCO. Like, you take care of everything. You like travel, like your GTC, your travel card, you have to take care of that. You have to maintain that. Make sure your medical readiness is good to go. Make sure your pre-deployment things are always ready, good to go. You're up on your trainings, your cyber awareness, everything like that. You have to be the one to take care of it. You're in charge of your own career in the Air Guard.
So I have a question. Because I feel like that's one of the things that's wrong with the Army. I feel like they hold you for everything. Like there's somebody to do all that stuff for you. Do you think that because everything is on the individual, that you can expect more from that person?
I feel like you would know whether or not that person is good Air Force material or not, because it basically leaves the responsibility up to the person themselves. Like, hey, this is what you need to do. Now let's see if you can do it. Right. So yeah.
So yes, no.
Oh, to answer your question, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's interesting because I ran into that a lot. I remember having I don't want to get into specifics, but somebody blamed me because their certification wasn't done, and I'm like, mine's got done, so why didn't yours get done? And I didn't know the same way you didn't know, and I figured it out. So I don't know. It just made me go down that rabbit
yeah,
hole.
in that aspect, like the Air Force, that's not even like if you come with that like argument, they're just gonna look at you like, why are you telling me this? You're in charge of your own progression. Like if you don't progress, if in rank or like leadership stats, that's on you. It's not on me. I can only point you to the water. I can't force you to drink it.
I do think the Army tries to force you to the water.
And dip your head in it. Just
And I've finally reached a point where it's annoying for me. Before I used to be like, whatever, that's your problem. But now it's always my problem. A clear example is I'll push out an email about something. And then 2 months will go by and the soldier needs it. And instead of them going through their email, they'll hit me up and ask me to resend it. So things like that, it irritates me. Now I'm at a point where I don't answer it. Like you ask for it, I'm going to say, figure it out.
well, do you have to resend it? Because isn't the point of the email to hold anyone attached to it accountable?
Yeah. And so you have a forever archive of documents you may need.
So
If I need to fill out a DA-31, for those of you that's just requesting a day off or leave, it's in my email. So every time I need it, I can just go to an email and pull it up. I don't have to constantly be like, hey, can you send me one so I can fill it out?
So why not just tell them no? Just be like, no.
Yeah, I tell them to figure it out now.
So that's what you had the rank to do that. I didn't have the rank to do that when I was in. And it's situational. Like it depends on the situation. But I found that because of this, like how the situation was, people would tend to leave it on you if they felt that it could be blamed on you.
Yeah, with rank comes that responsibility. Like it's gonna fall on you, so you have that pressure to like, hey, if you're not doing it right, I'll just do it myself because I can do it right. And I feel like that honestly is like one of those fallacies that lower enlisted service members, of course, they don't have the experience, but that's something they need to recognize, that they're like how their actions affect upper leadership, how like, hey, if I don't get my shit together, I'm not just screwing me, I'm screwing my leadership as well. But, there's always that NCO barrier, right? Where it's like, oh, you're an NCO, you're fine. I'm what's it called? The E4 Mafia. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, like, there's that separation, but all it takes is just one rank, and then guess what? You're on, tag, you're it, as my leadership say, So
How long have you been in the military?
I started my journey in 2017. I believe it was February 1st was my signing date. I don't know why I was thinking about basic training. I remember basic training, and I remember it was like the first night, like, the first week is like Shark Week or some shit like that.
Shark Week.
And I'm originally from the Bronx, so a lot of shit ain't gonna scare me as much as they try to scare me. So I remember they came in and started banging on pots or some shit, and I was on the top bed. I literally jumped down on like I was fucking Spider-Man. And I said, "So what's up?" Like, and they were like, "This guy," and they went to the next room. But I thought it was funny because they, in a sense, they're trying to intimidate you and see like how far can they go. I'm not gonna lie, it was just for me, basic training was, I didn't like when they fucked with me when I was eating. That was the only thing. I almost like got into it with a drill sergeant. Like, shaking my plate. I was about to he was about to get the hands, and I was not. But thank God something told me and that's when I knew I grew up too. Because if I was 18 at that time, he would have got those hands. But since I was 23 at that time, I was like, you know what? He's challenging me to see if I would take the bait, and I wasn't with the shit. So I was like, I came here to, accomplish a mission, and yeah, so I didn't do it. But don't fuck with me when I'm eating. That's a long story short.
I find it interesting, the differences. Eventually, we'll get into the basic training, but when I was in basic, it was unheard of to attack a drill sergeant. The few who was brave enough to do it, they got their ass beat. So it's interesting, to hear that.
What a 5-year difference would make.
Yeah, but we'll get into the differences of when we joined, when you joined, and soldiers that are joining
Right now.
post-COVID. I do want to ask, what was the process of joining? What made you find your recruiter? How was that? How was your recruiters?
Her name is I'm not gonna say her name actually, but it was a female. Very kind, very sweet, very genuine. She just felt like she would tell me the answers, the real deal. But it was crazy because I actually lived next to her armory, which is the Kingsbridge Armory. I don't know if you've been around, but I lived there my whole life, and it was crazy because across the street is my elementary school that I went to school, and then at that time I was thinking about working for that elementary school, and it was crazy. My elementary teacher is now the principal at the school. So she was like, bumped into her, and she was like, hey, we need a job, because I was working with kids around that time. So you can have this job. So I'm literally staring at the school, and I had this small voice that turn around. So I turn around, I see this advertisement, National Guard, whatever. Remember, I lived next to the Army my whole life. So I seen this ad probably, or walking past it my whole life, literally. So I take a picture of it, didn't think nothing of it. My house is probably 5 minutes away from it. Went to go lay down, try to go to sleep. And I remember maybe 5 minutes later, I jumped up and it was just something told me I have to do this. And I ran to my mom, I was like, I'm doing this. And she was like, what? And I'm like, I'm doing this. That's it. And that's how kind of the National Guard, Army journey began. Yeah.
Okay, that's dope. Yeah. I feel like we got similar stories because I think we went to a job fair at York College, and I've always wanted to join the military since I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
All three of us was at a job fair, and I saw a National Guard recruiter. I didn't think twice. I was like, yep, I'm going. And I think you were bored, and you was like, yo, fuck it, I'll join too.
And you as well. Yeah, I was like,
so you guys been friends for a very long time.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't even know how long I've known Daryl. I just know that it was before a time that I could remember.
I remember you had braids.
Oh yeah, I did have braids. Yeah, shit. Damn, that was 5th grade.
Wow.
Yeah, sounds about right. Because our moms are friends, and they worked together for God knows how long. Love you, Mom. God.
And I met you when I moved to Queens, and that was in I think 2009 or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
Wow.
God damn. As long as I feel old.
Damn, we old.
Wow.
But
that's crazy.
We joined. It's funny enough too, our recruiters was caught up in a scam. During the time that we joined, they had an incentive where if you recruited somebody, you'd get $2,000. Or I think 5,000. Probably 2,000. 5,000 sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I think it was 1,000 per. And you can.
It was 2,000. Yeah.
It was 2,000, but they were stealing the money. So, because technically on paper, I recruited both of them. So when I got to basic, I was a PFC. But I didn't get no money. Absolutely nothing. And it came out a couple years ago, I think, right before COVID, that they were scamming and stealing the money from recruits.
My squad leader in 2012 got caught up in that too. Yeah.
I saw the main one too at the airport.
So
I don't think so.
We came back from Kuwait, and they stayed for some VA thing or whatever. But we just heard after the fact that she got arrested or whatever. I didn't follow it. I don't know what came out of it, but I know that she got caught up in that whole thing. I think the guy in charge of that whole thing got off, right? If I remember correctly.
I remember when I was on post, seeing him at the airport during the midst of it all, and he was happy as hell. You know, he was always happy. He was with his wife, and they were going on vacation. That's the last I've seen or heard from him. So I don't.
Damn.
So is the bottom people who get caught.
That's true.
But yeah, so we all joined together. Not even gonna say that. But did you pick your MOS? For those of you who don't know, MOS is your job.
So I think you're a 91 Charlie, we're both 91 Charlies, which is an HVAC technician. I say, I don't say mechanic. I don't know what you say, but it's technically a technician.
I'm an X-ray now, so I'm just the maintenance supervisor.
No,
but
but
yeah.
so I honestly chose it because at first I thought I was gonna actually fix ACs. I really thought I was gonna like be that guy, and I was like, wow, in the civilian world, I'm gonna be able to be like that AC I can fix, and then like you think about the summer, you think about like just different things, like I'm gonna be able to make money. Not saying that you can't make money, but it's just you're gonna have to put in a lot of work to make this money. But I didn't think anything of it. But technically, when it comes to the National Guard, let's just say, I barely do my job. I do, let's say, the 91 Bravos. I'm getting down and dirty with them, or I'm doing paperwork, or I'm doing something that's just not my job, but I'm doing their job. But it's part of being versatile, I would say.
What I can say to that is I feel like that only applies to Army. Yeah, because in the Air Force, you do your job.
I love that.
You do your job. Your promotion is based on your job. So like if you don't know, like you study, you take a test based on the levels of your job. So it's like you can only get promoted if you know the inner workings of that job. So like HVAC as well. We have HVAC maintenance in my unit, and they need to know like whenever our heat or whenever like our AC goes out, we call them and they come and they fix it and it gets back.
Is it civilian ACs or is it still military?
So what do you mean civilian ACs?
Like they have like if you go to any business, they have like the big ACs that cool the entire building, but military ACs they look militant.
Oh no, it's it's like for the building, like it's built in. So it comes like central. It's like central air, central heat. Yeah. So they come, and same thing with like electricians. If we're having some problem with the electricity, like they come in as well and they fix it. Like, and they're actual like jobs.
So
as well.
Do you feel like they do a good job?
I feel like they...
Because I have a whole theory on this.
I feel like they do the best that they can with the equipment they were given.
Okay.
No, because
political answer.
I asked because in my mind, I feel like if they have a job to do and they do such a good job that, there's no problems in the future, it's like, oh, do we need them anymore? So it's like, would they do a good job or would they do just enough to keep coming back?
I feel like there's always like the issue with like, let's say if the building is old, if the building is old, then you're just basically putting a Band-Aid on it because you'd have to change everything in order to fix anything properly, right? So it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on the situation.
That's like our trucks.
It makes me think of the CP door, not the CP door, but the TOC door. There's only that one person that could come fix it, and they have to come fix it every couple of months.
Yeah, they finally replaced it, by the way.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, it's a brand new door.
And how long has it been there?
I think it's been like less than a month.
Okay. We'll revisit this in 2 months. Because I feel like they replaced it before, and it happened again. They just need to
surprise me.
Is it like a new style of door, or?
Yeah, it's like in my opinion, it looks like a prison door.
Oh, damn. Okay, so
Like
maybe
it's
it make a
very
difference.
narrow glass, and it's weird. But It's funny you mentioned that you joined as a 91 Charlie because I actually joined as a 91 Juliet. That's a chemical equipment repair. Sounds fancy as hell because I let my recruiter pick my job. I wanted to be a paralegal. At the time, she said they were not offering that for the National Guard. So I was like, yo, just pick a job that I could leave right away. And so she put me in as a 91 Juliet, and I think I left for basic like a month later.
Yeah.
But 91 Juliets, they fix equipment that purifies water.
Wow.
You're not doing that in New York. So I have, outside of AIT, when we go to ALC for our MOS, we cross-train. So you would, when you get your 6, you'd become a 91 Juliet. And when I was a E6, I became a 91 Charlie. They combine.
Oh, I see.
So I had to learn how to fix ACs in ALC, and that's...
You were troubleshooting, pretty much.
I got a few.
I
of
wouldn't
them
even say
if you want to
troubleshooting.
take a look
What
at
are you doing?
a few ACs that I might need repairing.
You still got to cook. I ain't forget.
You're right. What are you talking about? No, I did. I
Wasn't
made
you supposed to
those
make
cookies.
cookies?
I did make those damn cookies because y'all kept bothering me about it for years. I made those cookies. I was a 92 get down in the
Chef specialist.
And he's talking about how
yo, shout out to my get downs, all right? No, yeah, I was a chef specialist in the Army back when I joined, and I feel like my unit, the 42nd ID, was the only unit that probably still actually cooked and not catered, which, I mean, I'm thankful for because I developed some cooking skills, and it was just like,
What's your favorite meal to cook? What's your favorite?
he don't cook, so he wouldn't
I
know.
do cook. I just don't cook for
prepares.
y'all. I just don't cook for y'all. That's
So what's your favorite meal to cook?
a favorite meal to cook. Let's see. Now we made a
False hopes and dreams.
false hopes and dreams. That's crazy. No, so what I really like cooking is like beef Wellington, or like predominantly like maybe like shrimp options, lobster. No, whoa, hold on. Let me stop. That's Navy talk right there. We don't do that here. Like predominantly steak. Like we change our menus now. I'm talking more like Air Force now, but we have like a set of like options we go through like each month, specifically themed dependent on the month or what the celebration is, like St. Patrick's Day or like Pacific Islander month or like Hispanic Heritage Month. You know, we make food based on it. But what I like is the like shrimp and beef stir fry.
All right, so you heard that, right?
I'm not cooking for y'all. That's why y'all have beautiful women out there that would
I'm
be
single.
more than happy,
I'm
you
single.
know, if y'all would dedicate y'all time and effort to them. You know, I'm sure
Why
they
would we do
dedicate
that
their
when we
time.
have you?
Well, because I'm already busy. That's why.
So you spoke about what your basic training was like your first day of Shark Attack. What was y'all basic like? I know Daryl is unfortunate where it seemed like while he was in the Army, he always had the shitty end of the stick.
That's why I left.
So where's the
That's
shit?
like-
Where's the shit?
I was in Fort Jackson, but we were trailer trash, so we didn't have like the bunkers and stuff like we didn't stay in the building. We stayed in the trailers, and in the trailers,
I said in the trailer too.
Oh, you did?
Oh, not
Really?
Me.
Shit.
Not me.
You went to the same place?
I went for
Jackson?
Jackson too, but I didn't stay in those.
I did AIT there too.
oh my God, was yours just as bad as mine?
Ours was great.
Oh my God, it was like they had something to prove. Like were there like no doors on your like toilets? Like you know how like in the
Nah, we had doors.
Oh, okay. So you know how like in the public like restrooms they have like the dividers, right? There were no dividers. There was no dividers. Everyone like the shower, it was like prison, in my opinion. Like everyone saw everything. right? And my drill sergeants, I feel like they had something to prove. One of them was a tanker. And their tankers and infantry always like bash heads. I think one of them was like ex special forces, and another one was like this very vertically challenged demon that like she kicked one of the lockers and it went flying, and that was the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Those lockers are heavy.
They are. And she kicked it, like she Spartan kicked it, and it went flying. I was like, okay, that's interesting. But yeah, I feel like they just had something to prove. Like there was one time, like I did my basic training around Thanksgiving, right? And I'm not sure. Did any of y'all do it around Thanksgiving?
I did it like I finished my basic training around.
Were y'all able to eat at the DFAC, like the big DFAC where like everyone goes for their Thanksgiving meals?
Correct.
Yeah, that's where we always eat.
That's why I ate at AIT. That's why I went into Thanksgiving.
Okay,
AIT around.
Well,
AIT.
that was just like a one-time thing for us. Like we had like a smaller defect to the side, like out in West Bubblefuck. But like for that one specific day, we went to that big defect. Everyone ate too. We saw all like the leaderships, everyone coming together, having a good time and stuff like that. And the drill sergeants, we thought since we were about to like graduate and stuff, we thought like they'd let up. They'd be like, hey, go ahead. It's Thanksgiving. Enjoy yourself. Just don't eat too much. Needless to say, that's what we all did. We all picked out cakes, pies, ice creams. It was on there. We had adequate amount of time to eat. No one messed with us. They were like, all right, come on. We're going to line up. We're going to forward march back to the barracks. And then we're just going to get ready to start tomorrow. Right? So everyone was happy, excited, and stuff like that. We got back. Everything was a fucking wreck. Like all our lockers, bunk beds were outside. Like there was like sheets hanging from like the wind, like on top of the thing. There was just like the mattress was on top of the trailer. Like, and we see the vertically challenged demon walking out of there like, all right, now before y'all go to bed, fix everything. And it was just the stories, man, I don't know how long I could talk about this. I feel like I could talk about this continuously.
They did some shit like that in my basic training. They did something like that. Like we walked back and it was like the whole house was messed up. And they're like, guys, take care of it. And we were like, okay.
Yo,
Did you have a I'm sorry to interject because this just brought something else back up as well. There was this one guy, he was a convict, right? So it was one of those cases like back in the day where they gave you like either jail or join the military, right? And he decided to join the military and he was in my squad, right? So you're not
sound like, sorry to interrupt, but like when you think about it, right? Like, how old was he?
He had to be at least in his 20s, like early 20s, like maybe 25 or 24.
I was thinking a little bit older, but I'm thinking like, imagine like this person around a bunch of younger people, and it just doesn't seem like a good idea to me.
yeah.
That's true, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to get into it because it's gonna make me upset. Because we basically had to pay for. Okay, so contraband, right?
Yeah.
The thing you're not supposed to have when you're in basic training. All right, so the MREs, they come with contraband, right? So what Homeboy decided to do was he decided to outsmart the drill sergeants and put 15 bags of Skittles in his pants. Like how your boots are bloused, right? So he stuffed 15 bags of Skittles inside his pants. So it was hanging down like his leg area. So he was walking like we were marching back and a drill sergeant like heard something and they stopped him.
As soon as you said, I'm like, somebody couldn't see the 15 bags.
like the pants were baggy. He was like tall. The pants were baggy, but when he was walking, it was shaking. Like, and the drill sergeant so it was like stopped him, and they were like, jump real quick. And he jumped, and he just heard a whole bunch of shaking. So they told our drill sergeants, right? And they didn't say anything until like 3-4 o'clock in the morning when they woke us up. Right. So they woke us up. They had all 15 bags of Skittles because they took it, and they basically was like, okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna eat these bags of Skittles while I smoke the living fuck out of everyone else in this barrack. So basically, like he ate all those Skittles, threw up like a lot. It was like rainbow. And like he was really tasting the rainbow there. And we got smoked for like 2 hours, just straight.
Wow.
And
was he a good soldier though?
No.
Was he throwing up while he was eating them?
Like after probably like maybe the 5th or 6th bag, he was throwing up.
Do you know how much sugar and calories that is?
And after that, we were known as the Skittles platoon. You know, like our shirts. When you graduate, you have the shirts. Mm-hmm. It literally had a guy doing push-ups while the tank was shooting Skittles out of it. It was okay.
That's
interesting. I need a
because I loved my drill sergeants.
Me too. I did too.
They all had PTSD. One was a sniper, and like 3 of them were drivers. 88 mics.
Wow.
And 2012. People were still getting blown up left and right. They've all deployed. They've gotten blown up. The sniper kept talking about seeing a pink mist after he shoots somebody. But they never did too much. Like, we didn't go back to the barracks, and yes, we had barracks. We didn't go back to the barracks, and everything was tossed around. But if you left your locker open, your locker was getting fucked. They did things like that. They smoked the dog shit out of us. Thanksgiving, we did eat. And they smoked all of us right after. Some people threw up, but it was
that was me.
It was. I enjoyed my basic. I think the hardest part about basic for me was not laughing.
It's the reason I don't like the beach. It's the reason I don't like sand. I don't.
I loved it. They were a nice group.
No, but like it was one point that I remember we were getting this smoked the shit out of, and they had us do nursery rhymes. Like actual nursery rhymes. Like we were doing intense workouts, and we had to do what's a fucking nursery rhyme? I don't know. I can't even think.
Mary had a little lamb.
Rock my baby,
yeah.
Sweet top. Like we was doing all the nursery rhymes you could think of. Wow, like literally sweating, making the whole fucking puddle. Like there was puddles. That's how bad it was for like 2 hours, 3 hours straight. Because somebody, left a weapon, which is very important. And yeah, we got fucked.
Darwin's like,
Yeah, I feel like my experience was closer to yours. I would say that they never just destroyed everything in the barracks for no reason. I would say coincidentally, though, if, as you said, if people left their stuff unsecure, then they tossed it. But there were days where like multiple people did it, so it looked like they just tossed the whole room. Thanksgiving, I feel like I had the best Thanksgiving experience out of all y'all because we got to eat. They put on a movie for us. We watched a movie, and that was it.
What?
I'm here for it.
Oh, let me ask y'all. What'd y'all do on Sundays?
Oh, it was church. It was all about the church.
Sundays was clean
Religion.
up. I tried to sleep. I got caught several times.
Yeah,
but Sundays, if there was no training, it was just like a clean day.
Yeah,
Clean up the
church,
entire barracks. We got cell phones. We got to call family.
Oh, no.
All right, there was something wrong with my
we didn't
my
get cell
basic.
phones.
Yeah, we didn't get cell phones. You got lucky with that.
I got a cell phone every Sunday.
Oh, wow.
They would let us call. You had the cards. You could go to the payphone and call. My drill sergeant, he had his iPod. He would just put on music for us while we cleaned and stuff like that. Nothing crazy.
Okay, well, mine's was stupid. Mine's
Yeah,
is stupid
I
because
think you joined the Marines by accident.
I feel like because what we did was just ridiculous. Now that I think about it, so there was this this trend going on back then where you'd make yourself pass out.
Oh, I remember that.
So there was 1 week where we would what was it? I think you take like 10 deep breaths, right? And then you hold your breath on the last one, and then someone comes behind you and like
Try to
lifts
crack
you
your back.
up, and then you just like pass out. Right? So we would do that, right?
So y'all are idiots then.
You sound bored. You sound
y'all
like you
were
guys were
idiots.
Yeah, I
bored.
needed to get some.
No.
You definitely were
It
fucking
was
bored.
it was more so like let's all try it. Let's see if it really works.
it
And like
work?
honestly,
It works.
I mean, it got scary at one point. Like some person they passed out, but they were like tweaking. Like now I have the medical knowledge to know that like their brain was like fucking firing off. Like they were probably about to have a seizure because like they deprived their oxygen of brain. So it was just like, he was like tweaking. I was like, oh shit.
So y'all shouldn't have had Doris in the latrine. That's what that sounds like.
They knew something about you.
But that was like some weeks. And then the other weeks we have like wrestling matches.
Oh yeah. Y'all didn't need Doris.
I mean, we had to relieve our stress somehow.
Yeah.
Well, they used to slap box in our barracks.
Oh.
No, they didn't do anything like that at mine.
Where'd you go? To the Air Force?
For Jackson.
Yeah, I went to
It must have been like an MLS thing. I don't know. Was it like all cooks there or
No.
it was like a mixture?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what MLS's was there. I was the only 91 Juliet.
Oh man,
That was
I
the
don't
only,
know how I
finance
still
person.
remember that. After more than 10 years, I still remember
No, but
that shit.
did anyone have like weird experiences? Like, you know, that was the first time for me type shit, not to even be weird, but like showers and everybody like is like, what's good with y'all, bro? Like, like I was questioning a lot of those motherfuckers, to be honest.
That never bothered me until the deployment. Funny story.
We love it.
I don't give a fuck. If you look, you look.
Yeah, fuck
You know, so I remember I was in the shower. This is when I used to wake up super early. Like I'd wake up at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym. And I remember I got out the shower and there was a guy, a bisexual guy. Everyone knew him. I didn't think nothing of it. And then I had the curtain wide open. And, you know, I'm drying myself, and all I heard was, ooh, you got a good one, Sar. And ever since then, it's like, all right, let's, yeah. Yeah, that
What was his rank?
specialist.
Damn, that could have went bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that
Yeah.
was the weird experience.
Yeah.
I do have a question. Because I feel like we could talk about basic the whole show.
Yeah, that's a fact.
How was AIT compared to basic?
I'm not gonna lie, that shit was crazy.
You went to Fort Lee?
Fort Lee.
Or you went to the other side of Fort Lee.
Yo,
Yeah.
so you ever watch, like, you guys watch Mean Girls, right? Like, no?
I've never
Mean Girls?
never
You
watched
seen Mean
an
Girls?
episode.
Original?
Yeah, the original.
Yeah.
Mean Girls with what's her name?
Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan. So you know how like she had like flashbacks and people acting like animals and shit. That was AIT. People were really acting like fucking animals. Like I guess because it's their sense of pride, getting back freedom. When I tell you that smoke pit was lit, everybody was smoking up their cigarettes,
Across from the default?
blasting music, like it was very ratchet. I was kind of like, is this AIT? I thought we were all supposed to be proper, soldiers. So I was very confused because my basic training was so strict and everybody had to be on their shit. So when I went to AIT and I'm like, this is how soldiers act.
Go ordnance.
So I had to like, not be the stickler or like try to correct people and stuff like that, because I'll never be that guy, because if you want to do what you want to do it. But at the same time, it was like a little shocking because I just thought like, ooh, I have a little more poise, a little more like grace when it comes to like representing that uniform that you were So it was a little shocking with that. I'm not gonna lie.
You know, there was 2 instances that happened at Fort Lee that made me know, like, okay, this is different. The first one was my first day there. I in-processed and everything. And I go to the smoke pit just to chill, you know, the smoke pit right next to the barracks. And I remember there was 2 guys smashing a chick in the wood line.
You fucking lying.
Yeah, first day in AIT. I was like, wow, okay, this is AIT. And the second instance was I actually saw
I did not
Daryl.
expect you to say that.
I saw Daryl at the PX. And I'm chilling. I'm about to go buy a new iPhone.
It's a real moment.
Daryl was scared to talk. Like, you looked like he was still in basic. I was like, yeah, I made a good choice.
Yeah. So I was on the other side of Fort Lee, and that side was not the fun side.
It was ordinance.
It was
What was it?
quartermaster.
Quartermaster. Oh
side.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was in order. Yeah.
Yeah, so because of the previous class, we were banned from everything, right? So like we didn't have overnight passes. We couldn't leave the barracks. We couldn't leave the base. The only thing we could do is go to the BX, right? The exchange. And when we were there, it was like we had supervision when we were there as well. So like we couldn't do much, right?
I'm just picturing you seeing him now. Now I know why you saw him.
I think I was laughing.
So like we couldn't do much. The craziest thing that's ever happened at AIT was like there was one instance on a weekend where like they were having like an orgy in the bus.
Nah.
Right?
Wait,
like
what?
it was like
Yo, what is going on?
and I remember they wanted me to join as well. Like that was like the craziest thing that ever happened because like
This really happened?
honestly like we were so like repressed because it
That's
was
crazy.
like basic training ended for most people but not for us. Right? So like we didn't have that. I mean, I didn't partake in the orgy, of course. You know, I'm a saint, you know. So it was like that was like the craziest thing that happened. But other than that, it was just straight like military. They were like, "Yo, just because you left basic training doesn't mean that it doesn't apply." Like, and they
I like that. Okay.
and it was basically just like that. Shit, like they still made us like run in the rain. I think I had pneumonia at some point while I was there. It was just.
Wow.
Sounds like you had a good time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you for your
I
service.
think God blessed you and put you back to the Air Force because he knew how you went through it. I think he knew.
Yeah, you had a rough time. I remember you was telling us you had a AT that was like in Florida or something like
Oh
that,
my! Oh
and a
my
hurricane hit while
God.
you was in the field.
No, that was basic training. When I went to
Wow.
we did our
The rough march?
FTX.
Yeah, our rough march. It was during Hurricane Sandy.
What the fuck?
It was during Hurricane Sandy when it happened. And what they basically made us do, right? Because it didn't pick up yet. Like the storms didn't pick up yet. So what had happened was like we did the march, like we secured an area and we didn't have tents, right? They said we didn't need them. Right? So we just had our sleeping bags. So what they had us do is they made us take our e-tools and dig. They called it our graves, but basically a foxhole, right?
Wow, yeah.
Dig our foxhole and then in our
foxhole. We're not doing that today.
and in our and with our sleeping like and we do like posts like we basically like hold our weapons out and we had to stay up all night basically you know and not fall asleep because if we fell asleep our weapon wasn't secure so they take our weapon
Yep.
throw it into the woods and then tell us to go get it right so what they didn't account for was how bad Hurricane Sandy was going to be right
Wow.
so
That's crazy.
like around like maybe 3-4 o'clock in the morning I had like passed out like a lot of people had passed out but it was due to like cold immersion
Yeah.
because like those sleeping bags were
Not
like
doing
there
it.
was frost building up on the sleeping bags and stuff like that because people like it was so cold out because of the
That is
storm
crazy.
and stuff. So eventually they had to like basically like tell us like to get up and start moving because the storm was getting so bad that like most people were like hypothermic, like they were becoming hypothermic. So like I almost died. That was
Wow.
a good experience.
You almost
Really,
died, ladies
it
and
was a
gentlemen.
really good experience.
It's fucking
so.
crazy. But you're here. God bless you.
Yeah, I didn't even go to the
Cheers.
field for FTX. It was like, the weather's bad. It's just go.
I didn't even leave yet. Because of the hurricane, they pushed mine back actually.
They forced me to call home when Sandy happened. I remember that. Because I remember one of the soldiers, she found out that I was from New York. And she was like, why don't you call your family? And I'm like, yo, my family's Jamaican. They good. I ain't got to worry about them. They good. But then she told the drill sergeants, and the drill sergeants forced me to call. And it turns out, God bless, that the family was good. They only lost power. Nothing else really happened, so that's good.
I'm gonna show you a video. I think I have a video in Sandy, and I'm outside making jokes. Like, but the wind was crazy. Like, I'm gonna show you it. It's funny as fuck. I wasn't in the military yet, so I was on some other shit. So yeah.
I realize this is gonna have to be like a 2-part episode. What I do want to ask you guys is, I was having this conversation earlier today, and we were talking about entitlements of new soldiers versus past soldiers. And part of the conversation too was they felt like the newer generation of soldiers, they lack discipline, but they're smarter. And of course, obviously smarter because of the resources they had. Like the person I was talking to is a sergeant major. When they were in high school, they had a beeper. They had like a regular flip phone in basic versus, we had iPhones and things like that. And the newer generation, they got
ChatGPT.
Yeah, they got ChatGPT, So I just wanted to know your opinions on the whole new soldier versus old soldier thing as far as discipline and getting things done is concerned. Because my argument was discipline is different. And I think the world changes. Like when we joined, it was completely different than when you joined. And when you joined is completely different from the soldiers that's joining now. And I think that they are better off as time passes. I think the military's changed, the world has changed, but I think overall they'll be better off than we were, just like we were better off than the previous generation and so forth and so on.
Well, my take on it would be that, in a sense, kind of thank God it's kind of happening, because I feel like the military has no choice now but to get updated, because it was falling into a old. It's good to be traditional. Don't get it twisted, but they were falling into just like old ways, just like like with the shaving situation. Like, let me just be clear: a black man, and I'm not trying to be racist or anything, but our hair grows differently from, let's just say, a Caucasian person when it comes to shaving. So it's not that I don't want to shave, it's just that my skin is saying, what are you doing? So it's one of those things, it's just like they needed to get updated. So I like it because it's now has no choice but to update itself. But at the same time, as me being an actual soldier, me being in the Middle East, which I didn't mention earlier, when I went to deployment, I was actually recruited from the Special Forces because I guess they were watching me train. I don't know how they peeped me, but they saw me and they were like, "Yo, join us." And I was like, "I don't know, COVID." So yeah, that's what it really was when it came down to it. But I was really pushing myself. I was really going over and beyond when I was out there. But long story short, I need people. If you're going to be a soldier, oh, I get it, you know, you are smarter, I get it, but if you want to be a soldier, I need you to be disciplined. I need you to be able to follow orders. I need you to make sure that you're fit. Like that's just the number one thing is to make sure you're capable of doing certain things that, not saying that an average person cannot do, but you need to be able to execute. God forbid, if you're in a dangerous situation, you do know how to move in those high level pressure situations. And if you cannot do that, and that's why we install discipline, make sure you're here on time and stuff like that, then, you know, go on to the next. But you need to be able to at least able to follow instructions, directions, because that is important to make sure when you're giving those instructions, directions, you're very clear and on task. That's how I put it.
I agree with that. You reminded me of when I was in SOC. I went to SOC in Fort Dix, and that was the first time in my entire career that I was in a room with a drill sergeant, an AIT instructor, and a recruiter. So we're just having discussions as you go through military schools, which we'll probably have to talk about in another episode. But as you go through military schools, it's really laid back. It's more of conversation and critical thinking. So one day we were just in class, and I asked, and I was like, yo, what's up with the soldiers y'all be sending us? I was like, this is the first time that everybody who's part of the process is in one place. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And they were like, yo, honestly, it's all ran by civilians now. The AIT instructor gave a perfect example. He was like, there was a day he found out that not only is it civilian ran, but the rules protect them in a way that, in their opinion, throws out discipline. Because drill sergeants and AIT instructors can't do what they did when we joined. Before it was like, all right, fuck you, sleep outside, you know, things like that. But he was saying that he found out that a soldier had alcohol in the barracks. They found out. They was like, okay, I'm going to do a search, a health and wellness check. In order for them to do, they got in trouble because they improperly did it. You're supposed to give soldiers, I think he said, a 24-hour notice before you do a health and wellness check. Pretty much they got 24 hours to get rid of the evidence. And so he was pretty upset about that because he got in trouble for it. And he was like, this is just, numbers. It's like, you know. They also said there's a lot of soldiers that they wanted to fail out of AIT and out of basic. But, you know, at the end of the day, a civilian's call is like, nah, push them through. Let the unit deal with them. And so it looks like we've come to an era where instead of when you join basic and AIT, they break you and mold you into a soldier. It's now like, get through the process and let the unit fix you. Which is extremely difficult for the National Guard because we see majority of our soldiers 1 week in a month. You know, that's what I love about basic and AITs. You're with them every day.
That is, wow.
Yeah.
That's discerning. That is, oh my God.
Yeah. So it's rough now.
Do y'all believe that, and I feel like this applies to all of us, right? Like that switch. No, it still applies to you. It's that switch. You know the switch, right? Like where like you could turn it on and you're like, boom, military mode. You could turn it off and you're like, boom, civilian mode. Do you feel like the newer service members have that switch?
Been out too long. I don't know.
Darwin, do you think you have that switch?
I think I've always been like that. Like, not military mode because, you know, that wasn't my whole life, but I know when it's time to work, when it's time to play, stuff like that. That's just, I feel like how my father raised me. So, yeah.
And that's what I was going for. Like, do you believe that the military has like given you this switch mechanic to utilize in your life? Like, hey, professional time. All right, play time. You know?
I mean, it's actually interesting that you say that because sometimes, like, let's say in your personal life, right? Sometimes I was like, why can I not be as professional as I would be if this happened at work? You know, like, because you want to feel like you're able to, but I think it's called check and balances. You have to be able to let loose and like just relax type. I was about to say type shit. A Future song popped in my head. But you have to be able to like just loosen up and I guess make that era. But my problem is when it comes to like I guess the new, it's like they don't take anything seriously, and that's just observation. And my thing is like, God forbid we do go to war soon. God forbid like shit really hits the fan soon. And I'm not saying it's going to, but you just never know. It's just like these also are the people, we're part of the process of, we are the people that are going to defend this country if some shit does go left.
Right.
And we need to make sure, of course, we need the intelligence, we need the capabilities, but we also need people to be ready to fight. And I think a lot of people are always trying to avoid the fight. So though it's going to get very interesting, let's just say within the next 2 years, 3 years, if that does arise. But I believe we'll weed out the weak and we'll see the strength. We'll see who's really about it. That's how I see it.
I'm a firm believer. Like, I get it. I remember we had this conversation that at the end of the day, if there's a stalemate in war, it goes down to numbers. So numbers are important. But I've always been a fan of a smaller, more lethal force. I got to give a shout out to this dude Zayov. Zayov is a soldier of mine that I had in Kuwait, and he's from Tajikistan. And he is, in my opinion, the exception to what people view new soldiers as, because he hasn't been in long. He already got out, but he did like one contract and was like, I'm done. But
Good for him. Common sense.
But like he was young. He looked like he was a mafia boss. And like I remember asking him, I was like, yo, how do you feel about Americans? Not like, how do you feel about Americans as far as like their attitude, perseverance, things like that? And he's like, brother, Americans are soft. He was like, they complain about everything. We got soldiers who complain about everything. And like, he's the type of guy who, I remember he hurt his legs. He hurt his knee or something like that. And we was like, yo, take time off. You went to the doctor. He was like, no, brother, I still come to work. And so he came to work and he was talking to the soldiers. He's like, we go to the gym? They're like, yo, bro, you hurt. He was like, I still have upper body. Mom didn't raise no bitch. And that's just the type of person he was. And I say all that to say, I feel like we've gotten away from that. Like he reminds me of what the military strives to turn soldiers into or turn people into. And I think it's lost. If we ever were to go to war, I'd like an entire army of Zayovs. But
Wow.
yeah, I do think that it's changing though. Because, you know, when I think about like what war would look like in the future, I don't think it'll be the way World War II was or anything like that. I think it's
Drones.
cyber. It's
Definitely cyber warfare. Definitely
yeah.
drones.
I disagree.
and the Marines on the front.
So, when I was in AIT, and granted, this doesn't make me an expert on it, but when I was in ALC, you know that oral report you have to do?
Yeah.
I did it on cyber warfare. And what I learned from that is that essentially when you're equal forces, everything just cancels out and you come right back to people. So, unless somebody gets extremely technologically advanced in like the next 2-3 years, it's going to come down to people.
I could see that. Damn, this show, we already hit an hour. This is definitely a show we're going to have to do a part 2 on. Because I have a bunch of questions I want to ask you guys, like, you know, how was your military schooling like? Annual training experience. I wanted to talk about the deployment experience. Have you deployed?
No, not yet. Soon, hopefully, if I'm lucky. Get on one of those Air Force deployments.
Just ETS.
It's amazing though. I
better.
heard those.
Yeah, I heard Air Force deployments.
But
are nice.
knowing my luck, I'd probably go to like fucking Guantanamo Bay or something like
That's a
that.
vacation.
That's a vacation.
Is that a vacation?
That is a vacation.
Okay, well, hopefully my luck, I'll go to Guantanamo Bay. But if not, it'll probably be like, I don't know, like Afghanistan or something. Like yo, you're the only Air Force unit that gets right into the deep end. Go.
Do you still go to Afghanistan?
No. Thank God.
But we'll wrap up the show. Again, it was a pleasure having you on here.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
I feel like we didn't even do introductions this episode. We just went right into it because we recorded a show previously. But that's press. You guys know Daryl and Darwin.
I'm Daryl.
But
I'm
Yeah.
Daryl.
I'm Daryl.
so stay tuned for part 2
Or part 3.
or part 3. But that's all I got. Happy 80-20. Happy Levicity. Fuck being average. And we'll speak to you soon. Oh, you got to do the quickie?